Hello, big beautiful world. Welcome back for the third installment of Adventures in Microsoft Flight Sim Land. Today I am going to take up an aircraft I've had for a while, never really made much use of it. It's the amphibian version of the famous, so famous I can't remember what it is, Cessna bird dog. So yeah, I want to take this puppy up, and the reason we're in an amphib is because I'm hoping to bring it down at a lake that I remember from a lifetime ago. Again, a lot of these things are half remembered memories from like a fever dream of my youth. So, or I could be making it up. I mean, it's your choice. You guys can make up your mind. This one, we're taking off out of Huesca in northern Spain, and we're going ahead generally northwest. I'm looking for what I'm hoping will be an Easter egg, and hopefully it'll be nicely modelled, much like the past two. The first one was at Warragamba, and the second one was showing Whitby Abbey. So Warragamba in just southwest of Sydney, and Whitby Abbey up in the north of England. And today we're going to head up through northern Spain for a, like I said, a half remembered memory, and we're taking up this old bird dog. Alright, too much talking, not enough flying. Let us see if I can start this puppy from scratch. What am I looking for? Yep. Alright, so good-o, we're going. Got to remember to bring her onto main after we're up in the air. I think that's our primer. Alright, so alt and bat. We don't really need the alt on now, but I'm bringing her on anyway. Okay, mags, bring them round. Bring them round, bring them round. We're looking good. And of course I'm going to violate every rule in the book as we go for a sightseeing trip north, because I do tend to have these things very much in the vein of, you know, flight like you nicked it. Alright, let's see if this puppy starts. Oh, might... Oh yes, oh yes. Alright, we're off and running. Now I don't want to run over, who's that, just Tom today? Not Tom and Terry, the terrible twosome. Oh hello, how are you? Everybody loves a stowaway. Alright, let's get up in the air, see what happens. Okay, parking brake released. Ah, there's Terry right there. Tom and Terry, airfield bouncers all over the world. And because it's an amphib, we want to take off as levelly as possible. None of these popping monos and wheelies down the air, down the runway. Should check the mags. I imagine they're all good. Left and right and left, all good. Take off from the bigger runway just in case. Now, what's the whiskey say? You know what? Oh, packing on a bit of speed. And we'll bring it down to one side. Yeah, so we're up in Huesca, and I'm really hoping, probably against hope, that we'll find this kind of near-mythical place that I recall seeing a lifetime ago. And I learned a little bit about it later on with the advent of the interwebs when it came about. But the town itself, in and of itself, is lovely. It's really beautiful. And all around this part of the world is absolutely glorious. I find the Spanish people, hola everyone, todos, are amongst the friendliest, most generous, laughter-filled, considerate people I've ever known. And I'm not one to normally, picking up a bit of speed there. Picking up a bit of speed. I'm not normally one to throw those kind of sweeping statements at, but I do have a soft spot for the people of Spain. And I remember their generosity very well, their kindness. Alright, we'll take it back to the Keys and we'll get up in the air. Hopefully she'll behave nicely. Not to dance too hard. And we're up and away. Hold the line. So we should have Huesca. Bring the undercarriage up, shouldn't I? Yeah, lovely. Pretty much. I think this will be Huesca up here. It's a funny expression, isn't it? Nick it like you know, fly it like you nicked it, or fly it like you stole it. Just to confirm, Clan West. Right, forgive me with the TrackIR, it's all over the shop today. Hopefully it'll behave itself. So this should be Huesca just ahead of us. And I'm hoping to take the northwest highway out. So hopefully a good day for a bit of VFR. We'll keep an eye out for it all. Looking pretty dry up there at the moment. So our undercarriage is up. Yeah, I'm not sure. Hopefully I'm going to keep this to about half an hour. Yeah, where was I going before? That's right, yeah, the whole fly it like you nicked it or fly it like you stole it thing. Famous from the movies and movies like The Great Escape, I think. Was it James Garner and Donald Pleasance? If memory serves me, it was an old, I don't know, Messerschmitt 108, an old Typhoon that they stole. Or it could have been an Arado 96 trainer or something like that, but there's also from the famous computer games as well. So there's games like what was it, Hidden and Dangerous 1, I think, where the protagonist, one of our heroes, steals a beautiful Junkers 287, the odds forward swept wing Bitzer that Junkers had built, and I think it had the undercarriage of a Liberator or the wings of a Liberator, all kinds of weird and wacky stuff. A unique Junkers body, amongst other things, but there should also be an arena in there, you know, the big bullfighting ring. But I don't remember it as a bullfighting ring necessarily. I remember we were working picking veggies for a couple of farmers, and for lunch we it was all put on by the local church. They'd get us all in the arena and have these big trestle tables to eat. It was kind of an experience, kind of a great experience. Yeah, but in that game, well, Junkers developed the 287 forward swept wing long before the Raman X-29, and I think the Russians had the, was it the Berkut? I forget, was it Yak 34 or something? And the Germans at the end of the war, I think they ended up building the 3 prototypes or the 2 prototypes, and yeah, quite an incredible looking aircraft, the Junkers 287. And in that game, Hidden and Dangerous, you got to nick one and hurdle it, fly it out of, I imagine, Dessau, because I think that's where the Junkers company was located. Looking all very dry at the moment, isn't it? So, just going to keep heading north. This is a great little beast. I remember when it came out there was some controversy around what you got with it, but it appears they've patched it a couple of times, and I just enjoy hurtling about in it, really. It's kind of a neat little monster. So how's your day going? I hope it's well. I hope it's going well. I hope you're having a good, happy, healthy Easter break. and you know, you got lots of eggs to eat, or lots of chocolate to eat. Well, not lots of eggs. Gosh, as if everybody doesn't have enough protein in the world. No, we need more sugar. We need specifically more sugar in the form of chocolate, and I believe this is a perfect time to indulge in it and not feel any recriminations whatsoever. Yeah, so in that, back in the town of Huesca there, we'd I was knocking about with some German mates. We'd all been homeless for quite a little while, as you tend to be over in Europe, backpacking, trying to get as much adventure in this world as you can. But we were working on, you know, some of the farmers, farmland and stuff, and like I said, the church had put on a big, local church would put on a big spread for you in the arena at lunchtime. Of course, after that, everybody goes off and sleeps for a couple of hours, and then you work into early evening, and then of course you proceed to the nearest, well, not pub. You don't need to go to a pub because, you know, everybody has some kind of still or homemade area somewhere where you just, wherever you go, somebody will give you a bottle of wine or 20, and you know, so my memories are hazy at best from said consumption of local delicacies, shall I say. And again, part of a different world, very, very different world. Now, I'm thinking this might be our little town up here. Spain, it's so varied in this short space. It's just gorgeous. It's just really, really gorgeous. You know what? So much so that I'm just going to wind around. Yeah, absolutely. Bit of turbulence from mucking around with the valleys there. We'll follow this puppy around. So hopefully COVID's lifted for good. I'm not sure what the state of play is in Spain. I must admit I've been remiss in keeping up around the world with the heartache and the horror that we know of as COVID. But for any of you thinking of travelling, by all means, please, if you get the chance, get up here and do it, because it's just really a fantastic part of the world with amazing people. Oh, I'm just debating. You know what, we will cut across the top of this ridge. Yeah, and I think more than ever, we live in an age where we need to remind ourselves that most people who are bumbling about on this planet are fundamentally decent, kind, considerate, caring, capable of giving a damn about friends and strangers and family alike, and that in itself is pretty impressive. Yeah, there are a handful of arseholes, there always are, always will be, but flying over here, I remember getting picked up by a couple of French antiquarians, a husband and wife team, and they had an open bed, this rickety old, I think it was a Renault truck, and the thing must have dated back to the 50s. And they just sort of said, you know, whoever can hop on can get a lift down in, I think it was around Jaca, maybe over towards Pamplona in the west. But I spent a bit of time up here, just a few weeks mucking about. And again, like I say, you're making money where you can, busking over in Barcelona, so on and so forth. But in this case, like, I don't want to get too high. In this case specifically though, yeah, this husband and wife team, that we all piled into the back of the truck, and don't quote me on it, but she may have, you know, passed back through this rear window quite a few numbers of quite a few bottles of the local delicacy, and again we woke up in some ditch just southwest of Huesca, having drunk the night away with them. So there are many great people, and that will live, and we all have them in all our memories for being absolutely cool and just gracious and good people. But back to the Junkers 287 for a moment. God, I ramble on, don't I? There's the cool thing about it was that forward swept wing. Like I said, the Grumman will try it best part of 30 years later, 25 years later, and Russia will try it as well. In fact, Russia, I think, got hold of it first because they overran the Junkers factory. And they developed a couple of aircraft from it, the EF-130 maybe, EF-140, and with the forward swept design. And the cool thing was they learned all about, and again, I'm no aeronautical engineer, but this shit always fascinates me. So I think it was the dangers of aero elasticity, and that's where you've got the thin end ahead of the center of gravity, and it starts to vibrate uncontrollably. And in fact, you've even got it on rear-facing swept wings. So I think that's why you've got it's one of the primary reasons that MiG and North American with the Sabre ended up having to put the strakes in to break up the airflow to overcome those vibrations. And when I was there, it was only less than a decade after the passing of Franco, the famous Spanish dictator. And there was obviously still, especially up here in the north, the whole great north-south divide, as there was actually in France and especially England when I lived there, a massive chasm between the sensibilities, I guess, for lack of a better way, besides the politics of the day, but vastly different. And anyone from England, you guys all know this, there's still that thing going on. Whether how much is constructed in this day and age, and or perpetuated in this day and age, and how much is still there. What do you call the Nottingham divide? I don't know, but when I lived there, it was kind of permeated every aspect of your life. That's true of France. If you lived up around Amiens over the Longwy, it was vastly different to what you get further south around Dordogne or the Low region, or obviously Paris. And then the further south you go, the more the sensibilities change again. But probably no more pronounced than here in Spain in the early, late 80s, where you had the Catalonian breakaway, you had the ETA, who have, I'm not sure where the world stands on this today, but there was still a very profoundly conservative element in Spain, which is again ironic given how generous and open-hearted they are as the people that I recall, and the many Spaniards I've known and loved and worked with since. It's always a difficult thing to reconcile that identity, I think. But yeah, it's just one of those aspects. The people up around here, absolutely mind-blowing, and little things. And it's probably all been taken over by the hyper-mercados and stuff like that these days. But I remember a pub built into the side of a mountain with just again hand-hewn logs for seating and tables, and so you come across like an outcrop like this, and underneath it somebody would have hewn out a cave to build a pub in. And I was kind of lucky because I could play guitar, and therefore it was kind of an instant passport to getting absolutely hammered for absolutely nothing. But yeah, it's a land of old and new, of mysteriously ancient and often alarmingly modern. Yeah, so that'll be Jaca, and so this is really, what would you call it, the Piedmont, I guess, the foothills of the Pyrenees, the southern side of the Pyrenees. And the place we're heading up to is quite literally a breathtaking little, I don't even know if you call it a town really, called Canfranc or Canfranc. It's literally follows this river up the valley, or we followed up to this little town. So I can afford to lose a bit of altitude here. Just dip it down. So again, you think about the modern age we live in, and I would expect all these towns to be massive metropolises by now, you know? But they're not. They, to all intents and purposes, either in Google Maps or elsewhere in the interwebs, they're still largely untouched by the modern world. The developers haven't gotten hold of it, and the corporations haven't gotten hold of it necessarily. They just remain these amazingly story or myth-laden little hamlets and villages. I just want to see if they've got this Easter egg in there, because that'd be, frankly, really, really cool. Oh, bit of wind up. Yeah, should have thought about that one a little bit, mate. Now, that might be it there. Okay, so, oh, hang on. Could be it. Now, let's have a look. Yeah, I have a feeling that must have been it back there. So it doesn't look like it has, well, you couldn't see it, you know, from the glorious aspect that it looks like in real life. But there's a beautiful old train station. Canfranc or Canfranc was supposed to be, it's going to kind of be this ideal trans-Pyrenees rail hub. And I don't think it ever panned out that way. So when you actually see the place, it's just this incredibly, shabby, but yeah, alright, doesn't look like I'm going to be able to put down in the lake that I thought I was going to be able to put down in. See what this is up here. Yeah, it was going to be a massive rail hub for the Pyrenees, and I think it would head up from, well, through Madrid for a run up to maybe Po or even Toulouse in France. But for some reason, I'm not sure if it was World War II that prevented it or whatever it was, but it just fizzled out and just never happened really. But I gotta tell you, there's something completely otherworldly about the place. And there are a lot of places all over the world like it. We've all got them, but that inherent kind of weird cocktail of grandeur and lost dreams, and I think this is the last big town, and I forget what it's called. So just going to, but really didn't think this one through, did I? All right, I'm going to give it some full juice. Hopefully we're going to have enough room to get it turned about without taking any treetops out. I was, and I still am, going to take up that 247. I've got a lot of aircraft to run with, at least recording wise. I've flown most of them. But here you go, ladies and gentlemen, just passing over the little town of Canfranc once again, or Canfranc. TrackIR is saying to hell with you today. Flying liar? Yeah, because it's nestled in this massive wooded region in the foothills. Well, stay away from the downdraft. It just adds to that, like I said, that sense of not just decay. It's like most things, you know, of this nature. It's hard to precisely put your finger on. And we've all got them. We've all got those experiences where you try to relate the near life-changing quality of the places you're seeing through your own eyes. But if you're up around Camp Frank, have a look. It's just special. Just special. The river, I think it's the Aragon. We're just going to follow it west and see if there's anywhere a straight enough path to put it down if TrackIR behaves itself. And that's the other thing I love, well, one of the many things I love about the flight simulator. The person, and I know it's altogether wrong to say this, but the person I most think of myself as role-playing with this puppy is probably Howard Hughes, because he was a god-awful pilot, according to any of the testimonies about him. He was god-awful. And yet he helped revolutionize aviation, whether it was the H1 racer or, you know, being micromanaging with the design of the Constellation. I think Lockheed really didn't want a bar of him after a while, but he was instrumental in getting the Connie up in the air, navigating above the, flying above the clouds. He was a pioneer for that. By the early 50s, of course, helicopters and electronics, because he was so paranoid, wiped out on codeine and God knows what else he was put through his system. Obviously a real Cold War warrior by that stage, but truth of it is he was, yeah, there was frankly much that was really put him on par with Harvey Weinstein, if it put him on par with anyone. But historically also he did achieve a lot for the world of aviation as we understand it. The HK-1, of course, the Spruce Goose. But was it the Reporter? The HF-1, the high altitude, or the Reporter might have been a revision of the Black Widow, the P-61. But that big reconnaissance twin boom thing during the war that he was taken to task with after the war, I think that was his undoing. That and the Hughes, who was it? Hughes Kaiser, the Spruce Goose. What am I doing, folks? I'm looking for an airfield, aren't I? Or a lake. Anything to bring this beastie down on. I should have taken a chopper. But, you know, how come winning it? So what's our speed looking like? You know what? 80 should give us some flaps, really. Get our undercarriage down. Well, hey. I was hoping to put it down onto a lake to, you know, to demonstrate my superior water handling prowess, but I'll deny her that pleasure for another day, and instead we'll just head for this this puppy. Still running. Oh my god, we're coming in so fast. Okay. Come on, kid. Come on, put it down above the tree line. Yes. Don't try this at home. And we'll bring her up and we'll flare and we're back on the throttle. Okay. Oh, and that was brutal. But it was butter. So take your choice. I'll hold the stick back. I don't want this thing to topple. Alright, that was really hideous. But we're down. And we'll pull her in for parking. Where are we? Over yonder, I guess. Yeah, cool. So what did we cover off? We covered off big words like aeroelasticity and forward swept wing behaviour. We took a trip through northern Spain. We didn't find, or it's not modelled, the beautiful old abandoned railway station at Canfranc, but we did learn a bit about the Catholic Church and how they provide food for schleppers and bums and dreamers like me. Once upon a time, I don't know if they do it still. I like to think they do. You know what I mean? Aren't they supposed to be the epitome of kindness or whatever? I did this altogether wrong, but I don't care. You know, Tom and Terry are up here. Oh, they brought a mate this time as well. Okay, so we've got Tom, Terry, and we'll call him Turnip. Oh no, it's a lass, so we can call her Teresa. Alright, what have we got? Brakes on. Done. Let's shut this puppy down. Fuel off. Teresa, you were. I'm having an acid flashback. Alright, so mags off. Power off. Battery off. Come on, kid. Yep. Alright, here we are.